This is Dr. Neufeld reviewing our notes on how to read timelines. We're going to be using a lot of timelines in studying world history in 7th grade. Remember, we're going to start with the Roman Empire, which is in BC time, and we're going to go all the way through Africa, Asia, and Europe, going up into the 17 and 1800s. So we got to know how to read and place dates on a timeline. Now, times are beginning to change. First of all, the timeline is in history, it's a schedule of important events. But again, we're going to be studying the Roman Empire. So we're going to be looking at two terms, BC and AD. But that is beginning to change because BC and AD is based on Christianity. It's based on the birth of Christ. So it's a Christian calendar. It's also called the Gregorian calendar. We'll learn a little bit more about that term later. But BC and AD is based on the Christian calendar. BC actually means before Christ. So this new calendar wasn't created until the 700s when we changed the time. So again, it's based on the birth of Christ. BC is before Christ. Now think about this, though, about if you are not a Christian, because there are many other religions in the world. That's why we were beginning to change the time, but I'll tell you about the change in just a minute. So BC is before Christ was born. And like I said, it was not changed until later by the Christians. So in actuality, what we call now the year zero, if it was based on the Roman calendar, it would be the year 753. So again, it's hundreds of years until the Christians changed the calendar. Right now, the entire world, though, is based on this calendar. And I'll explain more about that in a minute when we get to the religion. So 753 was the Roman year when that we use now for the year zero. But here's what we use with new technology. The Christian church said that Christ was born that year. That's why they're going to call it zero. And all of our events in history are going to be based on the time before Christ or based on the time after Christ. But with new technology, we know that Christ is not really born in the year zero. We believe he was born between the year 7 BC and 3 AD. A little bit more accurate, we believe he was born about the year 4 BC. But again, we're not going to change our calendar. We just learned about this with the new technology and looking at history. We believe when this was first created that he was born in the year zero, but this has changed. Okay, BC means before Christ. AD, most people think means after death. But AD does not mean after death. It is a Latin term, Anno Domini, which means in the year of our Lord, which kind of makes sense. If this is the year Christ was born, BC, and if AD was after he died, well, if he lived to be 29 years old, what do we call those 29 years? So AD is not after death. It means in the year of our Lord. So here's the time before Christ was born, and this is the time after he was born, not after he died. But again, this new calendar was created in 575 by the Christian church, but it's based mainly on what happens in Europe. Now, maybe the Catholic Church created this new calendar in 575, but it's not going to be until the 700s when the countries in Europe changed their calendar, but it's not going to be until the 1400s when the rest of the world changed the calendar. Places in the Americas, etc. So again, that's what's weird about this calendar, which many people do not realize. But all of this calendar is based on Christianity. For example, then, when we're replacing times. Now, this is another thing that most people do not do correctly. I hope you will. Even a lot of professionals don't. Whenever we say a year, we use the term BC after the number, but we're supposed to put the term AD before the number. Most people, they'll put it afterwards. That's where they're wrong. So, for example, the year 22 BC, we say 22 BC or 100 BC. And we place it on the calendar. 100 BC, there's 100 BC. Now, remember, in BC, it is like a negative number. So the numbers get larger as you go to the left in BC time, but on AD, they get larger as you go to the right. Now, for example, we could say the year 1776 Most people would say 1776 AD, but no, that's incorrect. You should say AD first. Now, again, we'll place it on the calendar, and as the numbers get larger, they go to the right. For example, AD 2008 would be to the right. But this is where now, again, we're beginning to change the calendar. We're not calling it BC or AD anymore because that's based on Christianity. What if you're a Muslim or a Hindu or a Shinto? Why should your calendar be based on Jesus Christ if you're part of a different religion? So in new books, we are changing the terms. BC now, before Christ, is going to be called BCE, before the common era, not Christ, but common, meaning we all in the world are using the same calendar, and that's why we're calling it common. We're all putting the same dates and times, but we're going to call it BCE now. And we're changing AD Anno Domini to CE, the common era. So this just makes it a little bit easier now for everybody in the world to practice using this same calendar without changing all the dates. But here's where things become even a little more different. This is still based on the Christian calendar. For example, right now I believe it's 4718 in China. So China still has two calendars now. They have this calendar that we in the entire world use, but then they have their own calendar. And there are other places around the world that have their own calendar. There's the Gregorian calendar, the Christian calendar that we're using here. There's the Islamic calendar, the Chinese calendar, again, 4718 in China this year. The Roman calendar, lunar calendar. There are many calendars based on religion. For example, in Islam, it is based on the birth of Muhammad, who started the religion. It's not based on Christ. Here is the Christian calendar. Again, 2020 would be 4718. This is a little outdated. This only goes up to 2007, but then here's 2008, 9, 10, and this would be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So this is the year of the rat. 2020 is the year of the rat, so 47, 18, so it's 4719 in China. So again, most Americans do not know all these different calendars because we're operating on the Christian calendar. So I want you to be a good world traveler and know that around the world, if you walk into a place and you see some different numbers like 4719 or 1235, these are the calendars of other places around the world. Now, those were the calendars of the Mayan calendar for the Americas. We're going to be studying that a little bit later. So now, dates on AD, or as we call it today, CE, Common Era, they get larger as you go to the right. But in BC, or also called BCE, it gets larger as you go to the left, like negative numbers. And also, don't forget that when you say BC or the new term BCE, you must use the term after the number so that people know that it's going to the left on the timeline and not to the right. Now, if you don't say AD or if you don't say CE, then that automatically means it goes to the right. We don't bother to say BCE nowadays. We just say it's the year 2020. So this is all about BC and AD, or as I say, the new terms, BCE and CE on a calendar. This is what we're going to be using all year, especially as we start and study the Roman Empire, because Roman Empire goes into BCE and CE time. So, placing these dates on a timeline, they're on Edpuzzle, they're on Pear Deck, they're on Google. I'll be posting that, and then you're going to have a little homework assignment on Google as well to place dates on a timeline. So, remember, all of these notes here are on my website, drneufeld.com, and this video is on my website, so that if you need to watch this again to help you place dates on a timeline, you'll understand a little bit more about it. But what's important is that we learn that there are many different religions around the world, and that's why there are many different timelines. Again, it's the year 4718 in China. I'll have to look it up for Islam, but many different years around. So I hope you feel a little bit more comfortable learning about these dates and times on a calendar. especially as you get ready and move into high school and college. I hope you can remember all of this. So thank you very much. We'll talk with you later. If you ever have any questions, just email me. Thanks. Bye.